Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to today's Water Cooler Chat, where we talk about all things Livepeer, whether it's delegating, broadcasting, transcoding, developing, or AI inference. We're here to ask questions to get answers. So we got a couple topics ahead of us. Some stable diffusion licensing, startup program, the Whisper pipeline, and a couple items around the AI release, if there are any. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I think a lot of the topics are around the AI stuff, so we can definitely jump into that. But I wanted to first start off with Papa Bear's topic around the startup program. Papa Bear, do you want to ask your question?
I think I already had it answered during the opening from Anne. So I was just curious to know what the sorry what the projects or teams, I'm not sure what they're referred to as, are working on. So I was just curious if there was more info about that, and said that currently it's not posted or it's not public, but he will talk to people at Livepeer and see what they want to share or if they do. So that answered my question.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry, go ahead.
Since we're recording, N, do you want to just explain a little bit about the startup program
Mhm.
and what it is, and kind of just for those that don't know?
Yeah, totally. So the official title is the AI Video Startup Program. So the teams are called startups, and we actually have one in the audience. Anyway, but basically the idea is we are, as we're building out the AI subnet, we welcomed a number of startups to essentially build on the AI subnet and get the usage of it up. So also helping us troubleshoot pipelines and get those developed, which of course Rick and his team have been leading. So it's a 3-month program. It started last week, and I am kind of the lead on that now and working out marketing. So I appreciate Papa Bear's question in terms of getting an announcement out about the program to the community and to the larger Livepeer ecosystem. So I will start thinking and getting to work on that and seeing what information we're willing to disclose to the community. But for sure, we'll be having a demo day in September. Ooh, exciting. So that will be where, if not sooner, that will be where everyone gets to see the live implementations on the AI subnet. And that will be a huge win for Livepeer and for the community. So super excited for that. And again, I'll be leading the efforts there. So yeah, hope that covers it.
Are there this is all run by Livepeer Inc. that's sponsoring, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So it's sponsored by Livepeer Inc. and run by the ecosystem team.
Very cool. Yeah, great to see development out of that, and yeah, more usage on the AI subnet as prove it. So, very cool. Does anyone have any questions about the program? I guess it's so new. I don't even think it's really publicly released.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm taking it over, so I don't know before I joined, but my understanding is we have yet to publicly announce much about it.
Cool.
Well, the announcement, the AI SPE had that as part of their proposal, and I think as part of that proposal, they also mentioned that the Livepeer Grants program is funding it as well. It's not funded through the AI SPE. So, and there was also a period of time in which folks could apply for the startup program itself. So I think quite a few things have already been mentioned about it. It's just not, I don't think it's been, launched. And I guess that's what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, so so I am going to be taking over grants as well. So my program manager is mainly including grants, but also other programs that will be running at Livepeer. But that's correct, Mike. There was the application, but I think what Popper is referring to is like kind of sharing what teams are in the program and what they're building, so people can get hype about that. So we haven't done that yet. So the program is underway, but we have it announced kind of who's in it and what they're doing.
Okay, cool.
I'm actually curious, just kind of from my perspective as well. I've seen like some work pick up with image to video, and it's sort of like it comes in every 30 minutes. There's a job. I wasn't sure if that's related to some new client development that's coming in, because I'm working to onboard somebody. We're going to try to get this week. Last week, we should have it this week, but I wonder if there's any other pipelines that are already in working with developers to build on Livepeer, or maybe if that's not too public. I'm not aware of anything about it not being public, but just wanted to see if we might see like AI volume increase a lot over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah,
So
Rick, you wanna take that?
yeah, yes, no problem. Yeah, I was also coding, so I was a little bit. I will be now in this chat for answers. So yeah, what Mike said was correct. It's funded by the grants. It was the submissions were closed in the 26th of June, if I'm correct. And yeah, apart from that, the testing that you saw, John, that was me doing testing on all the pipelines to review it on chain. So there will be new pipelines coming, and due to the startup program, there will be a lot more usage, or at least traffic on the network.
Very cool.
Great.
All right. Great. I think that covers that part of that. Did anyone else have any questions about the program? I think the livepeer.ai website now, like it's been updated. Explain some of that. That's cool.
It was already on there, but I think the one problem still in there is that what I have to remove is that the startup program application button still works. So I will disable it for now.
Very cool. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for explaining that. That's pretty exciting. Let's continue on, since it's pretty much all about AI. Let's continue on to John's topic around the Whisper pipeline. John, do you want to tell us about what you're working on and give us some updates?
Sure. So I've been developing the audio to text pipeline. It's a project that Rick started back in April, I think. We have one startup program participant that'll be using it in, I believe, the coming week. So we've been working on this a lot, and one of the innovations with it was getting it to calculate duration. So we've been able to make some changes to LPMS, which leverage FFmpeg to process the audio and video that's submitted. I do have a demo, like a gateway set up and a orchestrator behind it. I've actually deployed the build to production already. So that's ready, and we're going through code review today. We should have something merged soon. Josh, the guy who's working on the FFmpeg upgrade, is going to take a look at the LPMS changes first before we finish up the review. But yeah, just I'm excited to get this loaded out to the pipe to the network, because one of the other integrations that we're looking at is putting Livepeer Studio on top of it. I think that would be a huge value add to like video on demand processing and adding closed caption to videos and things like that. So I do think this is going to be a pipeline that'll get a lot of work, and it's a pretty small model that you could run. It takes about 6 to 7 gigabytes of VRAM on the GPU. So yeah, I could do a demo if everyone wants to see it. If you have any questions, just want to kind of introduce it to the community, and maybe we can start rolling out some capacity over the next week.
I'd like to see the demo, but just curiosity, how accurate is it when it in terms of like capturing translating the video to text? Does it do multiple languages as well?
Yeah, it does. It does automatic language recognition. There is an option, we haven't enabled it yet, but you can pass a language indicator, so it'll not try to auto detect. But yeah, if you give it like Russian, it'll give you back Russian. I've seen that happen a few times, that kind of thing. But it assumes it's English until it can't figure it out. So there's some optimizations that could be made there, so you could pass a certain language. It's pretty accurate. I would say if you have like a low bit rate situation where the audio is not very clear, I've noticed the model can take longer to process. And that's something to think about in terms of how we price in general. I think I noticed a lot of other like AI platforms are billing based off of inference time, versus like what's being input to the pipeline. So it's another random thought for improvement.
That's really
And I have a
keep going.
Oh, so I have a curl command. Other people can test with the gateway too. Maybe I'll post that after the chat so it doesn't get slammed before I demo or anything. But I just got 14090 behind it right now.
That's great. I mean, I'm down to watch a demo if you are up for it. I think
Okay.
most people would be interested.
Alrighty.
I was going to say the same. Yeah, I'm down. Sorry, I'd like to see it.
This is being recorded, by the way, so I don't know what tabs you got open, but just keep that in mind.
Yeah. I've got it tightened down pretty well. Here we go. Can anyone see my screen?
Yeah, we got you.
Awesome. All right, so this is the main orchestrator, and this is the gateway. Just kind of idle here. And I've got Postman set up with a variety of test files. Just testing some other conditions, but yeah, so we'll send a request. Oh, and we'll jump over to the gateway so you can see the logs here. Submitted audio to text with 206 second duration. And then the orchestrator processes it. My tool's going to crash. Anyway, you can see the output here. And so you'll notice that you get back chunks like text, and then the timestamp for the text started at 0, ended at 4.5 seconds. And then this bit of text was from 5.7 to 9.7, and so on. Then all the way at the bottom, there's like a full summary of the text.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to be your emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I'm just curious as what this audio is.
I did not pick this out, by the way. Brad found this as a sample text, but I had probably some other stuff I didn't even want to transcribe either. So we're just working on whatever long form text we have to work with. This is some clip from a movie, I think.
Are you able to play the sound so that we could hear what it picked up? I think you might.
Yeah, let's see.
Share sound.
Speech.
You hear something?
Okay, that's good. So it may work out of the box. Bear with me here. This should. Oh. I'm going to pause sharing for a second.
Pull that onto your second monitor.
Yeah, sorry.
You got.
There we go.
How many monitors you got?
I'm sorry.
Just 2.
I don't want to be
This is some.
That's not my business.
If you can hear the audio.
I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise.
I think you get the idea.
It's good. I mean, there's even the background music, so it picked it out.
Oh yeah, it works with MP4 videos, M4A, WebM, which is also a video format. But you can also submit MP3 FLAC files. I've got several in here. There is a file size limit that's implemented on the runner side. I was doing some testing with that. I think it's good to have, but maybe we also should have something for the gateway. And I don't think there's any request limits on the gateway for any pipelines currently. So it might be something we improve in the future.
Does Does the whole MP4 get sent to the AI worker, or does like the MP3 get stripped out of it and then sent to the AI worker?
Currently, the whole file is sent, so whether it's an MP4 or MP3, it does send the full thing. That's definitely an opportunity for improvement. When we first started with this, there was some hesitancy to pull in the FFmpeg dependencies, just because it doesn't currently support all these different operations. But that's what we ultimately did, was we started building in support for checking the duration, for billing the charges, the pixels. But I think there's an opportunity to improve that for sure, and just have the gateway, you separate the audio and send only the audio. But the model's powerful enough to process, video or audio. It's just kind of a waste of data transfer to send it through.
Right. So there's definitely some room for improvement, but otherwise, I mean, pretty amazing that you can get that pipeline into Livepeer so quickly.
Yeah, I think this is going to provide a lot of value to the network. Maybe this is an integral use case with live streaming, is to just get like captions put in, and that's probably further down the road. But you understand studios are already looking at doing that with VOD, so we could see a huge ramp up of usage for this in a short time, I think.
Now, Whisper obviously does audio to text, but does it also do sentiment analysis? Like, I know some models do that. Is that something we could like include or add?
That I don't know that Whisper model. I'm not familiar with Whisper model enough to say what it can do on that. Maybe someone's more. I haven't seen anywhere in the docs. It almost sounds like a different pipeline.
Yeah, because the third place winner of the ETH Denver Livepeer contest was Sentiment AI. So their whole thesis was around using sentiment analysis through the Livepeer network. Decipher whether someone was happy, sad, was making a joke, was being playful, and there'd be some use cases for that. I tried to get them on here for a Q&A session, but I had trouble getting into the Livepeer Discord. Tough to get the rendezvous that Q&A session, but yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting pipeline to add. I know we're looking at lip sync and maybe a few others. There's sort of a challenge with onboarding too many pipelines. We want to, hit where the value is going to be at just to get us off the ground and launched. But yeah, that's really interesting to know more about what the demand looks like for that.
Yeah, I don't know what you would. Sentiment. Just sentiment would be a large piece of, like the app I was looking at building, which distilling a 2-hour meeting into a 1-minute, AI generated summary, where you have visuals, but then also you can maybe have the AI presenter or audio that's talking to you, like recreate some of the jokes, or like you could identify where people were excited the most, and so therefore it gave it more value or importance to the side. Interesting cases. So that's the Whisper model. How far are you away from having that? Oh, I guess, yeah. How far are you away from having that available on the network, or what's kind of the timeline for?
Yeah, we were aiming to merge it today. Initially, we were really hoping like Friday to merge it and load it out to some gateways. The next step is, once it's merged, we do want to roll it out to Livepeer Cloud and get it in the gateway there, and then start implementing it in the network. I would hope. I have to hear maybe a bit from Rick too, but I think Rick's fully reviewed it as well already, and we're really just waiting on the LPMS side of things, because that's the dependency that has to get merged first. Rafal had looked at it, and then he asked Josh to look at it, to Josh has been doing the FFmpeg upgrade and he's got a lot of knowledge on that. So once we cross the LPMS hurdle, I think we're clear. Docs are already ready to merge and everything too. So
Awesome.
we were hoping to merge today, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we can merge after the Livepeer media server pull request. Very excited. Let's get it in.
I'm curious to know. Oh, sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
No, I just said let's get it in quickly.
Yeah, I was curious to know. How, do you know how much like processing power it takes on a GPU to? I know you said it's like a 6-ish gig model, but I was wondering like how much of the GPU like processing does it take? Like if like someone has a 4090, can they get 2 models going on there, and would that have a big effect on the second model running?
I have not looked at that myself, only at the freedom requirements, but maybe John has.
Yeah, I do have it running on with another model on the same GPU currently, and it seems to be performing fine, but I haven't put 2 Whisper models on the same GPU.
I think he's asking specifically is if you have 2 jobs running concurrently, a text to image job and a transcription job running, how much impact will that have on the actual text to image job?
Yeah, that's something I need to test. It's difficult to quantify, but I would say it takes about 10 seconds for every hour of audio, roughly. Let me correct that.
Well, I think the way to do it would be to get like the GPU exporter metrics running when you have a single model, multiple models, and then look at the usage. I think that goes back to your point, John, about having a compute-based cost, instead of a pixel-based cost. I think compute-based is going to be how much VRAM, how many tensor cores are getting used, whatever else there might be, power consumption may even be a part of that. But those the true compute costs would be a better way to analyze it. But I think the bigger issue is when running multiple models is what happens when your GPU is running 2 and 3 models, because like your response times for all of your requests when it's busy are going to go down. So but how bad, right? Is it to a point where if you're running a Whisper job and a text to image job, are your numbers going to be that bad, right? Where you might not get selected for other job types. It might only be useful to run multiple Whisper models, perhaps. I don't know. I'm just kind of summarizing Papa Bear. I hope I categorize that properly for you.
No, no, I mean, sorry, especially the beginning was exactly what I was asking. I was just curious about, like, could you run that with like, a real viz, lightning model or something like that? And, if they both fit on there, how much of a hit would one take versus the other? And I also, before John answered, I didn't know how long it took to process. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we can experiment with once it comes out too, or once it's released. Is it actually the Whisper model that you're using, or is it just an audio to or is it a different audio to text model?
This one is actually the Whisper on Hugging Face.
Yep, Whisper large V3.
Yes,
you're going to need a pretty big GPU on all of these things. Whisper, I think is like it's not huge, but it's sizable. If you have like a 3090 or 4090, it'll take up probably like 10 gigs of RAM to have the model running.
Yeah, I saw that 6.
Obviously matter too, right?
Oh, okay, so it's that big. Okay.
But we had
sorry,
we
Speedy,
had
yes.
the other. Oh, you go first, Speedy.
Nothing. I was color commentary.
I was asking Speedy if he could repeat what he said at the end.
YOLO or BERT or something like that, which are smaller models, but those aren't obviously voice to text.
Oh no, we had a request for these smaller Whisper models as well, but they can be put on there as well. And I think they will be more suitable for more real-time translation. I don't think that it will be fully real-time, but it's an interesting addition.
Yeah, and I guess of course, as with anything, the smaller you go, the more fidelity becomes an issue, the quality of the output. But
exactly.
Yeah, on the amount of time, I think I misspoke. It's about 1 minute per hour of video or audio from what I've seen. So if somebody gives like a 1 hour audio file, it could take about a minute to process that.
And I think that's for that minute, what other jobs could fit into that GPU. And I think, when I've done some experimentation with running multiple models on a single 4090, even if it's 2 text to image models like RealViz or Lightning, or, maybe an upscale and a, text to image model. But either way, what we found is that, when 2 jobs are running on that same GPU, there is a percentage of decline in your response times. If you run 1 job on the GPU, and it'll get the maximum speed, but with every job you stack onto that GPU to run concurrently, the jobs themselves all take longer, which makes sense, right? You have finite resources on a GPU. So just be cautious of trying to stack multiple models on a GPU thinking you're going to get all the work, but you won't. You'll end up hurting your response times more than you are going to actually get multiple jobs.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very important point. So the reason we did not benchmark it yet is that it's not yet supported to put multiple models on one GPU. So, but I saw it as well. So the differences, and the same thing from your pricing. That's what you stated, that it's better to do based on computation, for example, floating point operations, or because you get closer to the actual usage on the GPU and the energy. Yeah, that's a very valid point as well, and we want to get it in there, but currently we decided to not change that yet because there are a lot of big overhauls that have to happen first.
Yep.
Right. Cool. So, John, just to finish up your topic, the Whisper model is coming. You want to get it pushed in. Any other updates from that side of things, or is that just kind of the update, and we can all be very excited to that implementation?
Yeah, I'd say stay tuned to the AI video thread on Discord, and we'll post an update as soon as we have it available to the network to start loading out on orchestrators. And I'll be in touch with the Livepeer Cloud team to get it rolled out to the gateway. Hopefully we'll be merging in the next day or two as soon as we get the LPMS changing.
Great. N says, question from me, will the AI subnet drive higher demand across the Livepeer network? That is the goal, I believe. Create more fees on the network, more demand by using the resources that we already have, which, highly decentralized, robust network of GPUs. We can kind of add this new job type to the network and, offer more options to developers. And in turn,
100%.
Yeah, and then in turn we end up with more fees. In turn, more fees are more profitable and robust orchestrators, and orchestrators can build a robust decentralized network and kind of feeds on it.
Yeah, and I shared the June dashboard for the AI side. I shared it in the chat if people want to follow the fees.
Right. And are these fees from Livepeer Inc? Are these just all subnet jobs on the network? How are these tracked?
So we currently do some hackery here because there is no distinguishing element on chain yet. So we are, or at least I have been prototyping for that, but we have to implement it still. It's for example, there's an aux data field on the tickets that you can use to distinguish the normal jobs from transcoding jobs, hackery. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, it's high on the list as well. But currently, what we do, we know most of the AI gateways that are currently operating, the biggest one at least, and that's an estimation based on that. So we only look at those gateways currently. So the number is a little bit higher, but I would not think it's higher than $5 or $10 per day or something.
Right. Is there an option where we could like add on-chain metadata to tickets so that could be distinguished, or
That's what he was referring
Yeah.
to with his prototype. He has a prototype that's going to do something like that, but the current protocol doesn't support it.
Yeah, and it's not too easy to put it on there. I want to review it with also the studio team, because we have to make some changes in the ticket data field. It will be enlarged a little bit, and that has to be done correctly, and that takes some time.
Yeah, smart contract changes are not going to be easy.
No, and that's correct. So yeah, and yeah, apart from that, then the on-chain changes will really be a distinguishing between these tickets. And in this dashboard, you can notice that there are no request data because they're not on-chain. I'm currently working on getting those data on the cloud gateway so they can deploy them there, so that we can also have a better view of how many requests come into the network. But that's also will be an estimation, and a better way is to do a data aggregation there from the orchestrator side, for example.
I feel like because that would require that would require a smart contract upgrade, right, to be able to post the metadata.
For which data?
Yeah, posting any ticket metadata will require a smart contract update.
Yeah.
That's no small feat.
No.
No, yeah.
I mean, we've done some of that before, but it's definitely not easy, not an everyday type task. Just deploying the smart contract updates can be a bit challenging.
Then the question is the investment time of just figuring out what's transcoding work versus AI work like worth the hours put into doing it? Whereas, maybe we just we kind of just do your hackery where we just kind of, this is likely an AI node. We can kind of just put that into that.
Yeah, we can do this. I think this will be accurate until the point that we really have other bigger gateways joining the network. So there's not a real hurry to get it on chain yet, and we will take the time because, like Mike already said, the on chain changes need to be reviewed really carefully there. Yeah. And it's a small change. It will be only like one byte a data added to one field, but still it has to be reviewed.
And
are the
what?
Sorry, I had a question. Are the startup program participants going to be interacting directly with the cloud gateway, or are we going to be trying to get them on their own gateways?
No, we made a partnership with Cloud that we're extremely happy about. So Mike can tell more about it, but the startup will be on the Cloud Gate.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
we've are volunteering the infrastructure we got from our initial OwnCast integration. So we had funding from our prior SPE proposal that allowed us to run our infrastructure for 1 year. So in addition to the transcoding gateways, we also deployed AI gateways. So anytime you go into, the AI generator that we created, or even, these startup programs, if you go to livepeer.ai documentation, you can read there that all of the sample URLs that they give are Livepeer Cloud URLs in the documentation. So anytime you use those curl commands or you're building your apps on top of it, you'll be submitting requests through Livepeer Cloud's AI gateway. This is a temporary thing. I don't know what it looks like, 6 months from now, but I think right now, we're just happy to be able to help serve the team and provide the capacity.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll help with the reporting and help them get up and started much quicker.
You would think so, but I think the software and the metrics collections pretty weak right now, and that's something that we've been working in the background at Livepeer Cloud, trying to figure out easy ways to get the metrics and report the the usage. So it's not that easy, but it's definitely better to have a central gateway that you can use to collect your metrics from versus trying to aggregate from a whole bunch of random people's gateways.
I know Rick has done some great work on the gateway metrics already. Saw something come through today. So
yeah, we're deploying beta software, alpha software to our cloud gateway so that we get metrics, and we have some stuff we're doing with Loki as well. So we're trying to put some fixes in just to mitigate some of the metric shortcomings we have right now. So it's definitely a work in progress.
Yeah, I'm currently still coding that, so it will be done for review from Mike. I think tomorrow.
Yeah, no worries.
Great. Okay, let's continue on. Mike, your topic is around the AI release, this kind of things. I have to step away from the microphone for 1 minute. So, Mike, do you want to just take over and give us your opinion?
Yeah, sure. Again, this is really for the broader community's benefit. I know looking at the AI SPE proposal that there's some milestones and target dates coming up with, a list of deliverables. I just didn't know if you can kind of like quickly say, hey, the next release we plan to do is this date, and here are the 2, 3, 4 things that might be included. Because I know it's been, like Papa Bear and I were talking about earlier, it was like, oh, it's been, we put the upscale release out, a couple weeks ago, and what's next, what's coming down the pipe. And I didn't know if you could give a quick update, Rick, and talk about that, or if it's something that's still in the works and you don't want to spoil the surprise.
No, I'm happy to talk about that. Yeah, sorry for the silence a little bit. We're doing some quite big re-architectures in the code base. One of them is like the AI remote worker that we have been working with, also Cloud and also Tenderize to get in the code base. This is a really big change. And the Brad has already implemented, and we're gonna merge it with the stuff from Tenderize as well. But because it's a big change, everything that we now merge in before the AI remote worker will cause conflict. So we are currently really careful with merging things in. For example, the Whisper pipeline is very compatible. That one will be merged in. That will be the first release after a long time. But after that, there are a lot of pull requests that can be merged in when that pull request is done. Most are fixes, or for example, pull requests that you can allow to put choose the GPU that you can put the models on the pull request that Brad did improvements in the external containers. So the external containers will be released, and the other ones is the capabilities endpoints. That one will also be released. So is a lineup of things that we want to get in there, but there is also the starter program, and for the starter program we need to implement several things. So one of the things that we need to implement is the LoRa. LoRa is on top of the base models. That currently is being taken on by Marco, and we will merge that in as well in this month so that the startups can use that. So if Marco has that done, then I will review that. Apart from that, there is a lip sync pipeline that needs to get in, and a text to speech pipeline that needs to get in this month, and further, it's basically improvements in the image to video pipeline and the text to video pipeline and the image to image pipeline. Some improvements are, for example, prompt embed that's being done on a bounty, which we will review. Another improvement in the text to image pipeline is that you can put 2 prompts. So the first prompt that you already use on the network is really the base prompt. So you will state what the image has to be. But there's a second prompt in most diffusion models where you can also state, for example, the context. So is the scene in a beach or is it in a mountain view? Other ones are the one that I would like to have in the upscaling pipeline is the auras model. And I think I likely will put out a bounty for that so that we can review it and get it in quicker. You cannot see that I was sharing the auras
I was
model.
thinking more at a high level, though. I know you got a ton of stuff on the agenda. I know a lot of folks know you guys are working, but I don't think they get to see all the things that are all the moving parts in the background. So I just figured today would be a good time to just kind of give a quick highlight. I mean, do you expect it to be like every month at the end of the month you're going to do some release, or is it really going to be when you got a big stuff that's done and ready to move, you'll cut a release at that time, and then if there's any minor fixes, you can kind of like bundle them in together. Do you have a timeline in general, or is it just going to be as work finishes, an announcement will be made and a release will get cut?
No, mostly what we will do is the releases are mainly based on or big bug fixes or pipeline releases. So those will be in. There is a timeline on the linear. It got delayed a little bit because of the challenges with the AI remote work and all the challenges in the code. So currently the state is a little bit more complicated because we are doing this big architecture. So if the AI remote working is working, then the biggest architecture is done. But there is another one that has to be implemented mostly as well before we add new pipelines that is making the pipelines more generic. And if those two are implemented, then it really becomes more easier to do this quicker releases.
Okay, no, that's cool. Just wanted to let folks know that you guys didn't disappear. You know what I mean? Like you're over there, you cranking all day, every day. And I know you guys are because I'm part of a lot of the conversations, but I just wanted to share that there's so much going on, even though it's been silent a little bit. I think folks are just heads down, getting the last bit of updates ready for an upcoming release.
Yeah, that's 100%, Mike, and thanks you for bringing that up. So yeah, sorry for the silence. It's really because a lot of things were happening. We are working really hard to get the big changes that have to happen at this current time on the subnet, and if it's more stable, I think it becomes easier to do this smaller releases on like a regular basis. So my first plan was to do really a change log every 2 weeks. But that becomes hard if you're working with multiple big timelines, points, or at least items. So, but the things that I told you previously, for example, the startup program things that have to be in this month. And the AI remote worker has to be also in the code base before the end of next week or the week after that, because the pools need to start their integrations. Because I think we really need the supply to be able to support the startup program, because there are a lot of the startups we talked about. They have a lot of work that needs to get on the network, and I think the pools are a critical piece to enabling more work there. Supply.
Cool. I mean, unless anyone else has other questions, I don't know, Titan, if we stalled long enough for you there.
Yeah, I'm back. I didn't.
All right.
No, that's excellent. Thank you for elaborating, Rick, and taking over, Mike. Great. Let's continue on to our last topic. Was my topic around the Stable Diffusion 3 model licensing. Papa Bear posted a video basically viewing how the new licensing would work with the Stable Diffusion 3 model, and basically the video concluded with like it's terrible, it's arcane, it's confusing, it's contradictory, and basically leaves people building or using it a huge question mark as to like what liability they hold using this model, right?
Yeah.
And so that really interesting to hear that, and how that could fit into Livepeer, and what does that even mean? So like, for instance, one of the speculations in this licenses that, you can use the free public license up until you hit $1 million in revenue a year, in which case your license explodes, and you now are required to buy an enterprise license, as a whole different set of restrictions and rules and guidelines and yeah. So does anyone want to jump into kind of their interpretation of what that is and what it looks like?
Yeah, I can only jump in. I saw the license, so it's for some smaller use cases. It's better. Already stated in the chat that it's not clear where LivePeer fits into this licensing, because yeah, even if the licensing would consider LivePeer's clients as the real users of the model, then it will basically the same thing will happen after 1 million. But if it considers the whole network as one license entity, then it's there nothing has changed there. So we are still in discussion, or at least the ecosystem team, with stability there. If there is a way to work that out, because I think these licenses that they now have is not good for for AI in general, and also the research being done in AI. So I think it's really important that we keep researching AI in the open, so that it can be safe, that there's also more innovation happening, and that there's equal access to this model. So it's really a core point that Livepeer should find a way to help these open source researchers do their research without having to put these restrictive models on there. And I did a talk on Saturday also about that, and I think we have two ways to do that. One way would be to directly incentivize or at least pay people by requests that are being done on chain. There's no easy way to do that in a protocol. So the better way that I would see fit for this is really we have a treasury that we could use, and if you have data, for example with the data aggregator there, then you could pay the researchers for doing this research, and you could get the licenses, or you could make the models more open source there. So for the immediate state of the AI product on Livepeer, for the stable diffusion tree, it's really up to the discussions with the team there to see if we can make some can improve the situation there. And they had a more like an open model or open source model group there, but in the stability. But I don't know what the state is there of that currently.
Yeah, but if an individual org decided, hey, I'm downloading this model and I'm running it on my AI org, there's no, do you think there's some concern that potentially they could say, hey, I'm going to shut you down because there's a commercial aspect to this? I mean, I think even based on some of the licensing I read, I thought it was, up to a certain amount of money, like $1 million in revenue. Like if you had less than that USD, $1 million, that you still can use it for free. So I think our protocol fits within that, right? Or at least at the moment.
That was at the moment it does, because we don't have near even the fees that we currently have on the network are way lower for the whole fees for the whole time. So it fits on there, so we can put it on there. It's not hard to put it on there, but it would be more, I think, beneficial to really have this discussion before we put it on there, to really see where Livepeer fits in. And if that
but I
takes
think
too long,
individual
I
orgs and gateways could still go ahead and put it up and take advantage of it. I don't think they're not going to get lawyers beating down their doors if they do it. But as a protocol, Livepeer is not going to endorse it until there's some clarity there.
I think I agree with that. So we could put it, at least make it possible to load it on the software, but we cannot put it in the documentation. So then if people really want to use it and they know that it's on the network, then they can use it.
Yeah, and I already forked the code and I loaded it myself, playing around with it on Livepeer, the AI generator we created. But I think we've taken it down recently, not because of licensing issues, just because we don't have enough GPUs to run the AI software as well as playing around with some of these new models. So I think that's something we might be looking to change in the future. But, I think it's great to have orcs out there playing with it, testing it, using it, deploying it. Our gateways are agnostic. We'll send the jobs as long as you pass that model ID, and we'll send them out.
Yeah, 100%. So I will discuss it with the ecosystem team because it's a licensing issue, and I cannot make that decision myself.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I will let you know.
Because I would say, if I load the model in my GPU and I'm on the Livepeer network available to receive work, right? Then, the way I interpret the license is until I make that $1 million as an independent orchestrator, and, I can serve this up, right?
That's right.
So,
Yeah, that would be my interpretation as well. But also, does the licensing really see that way? So doesn't it see the whole network? But then Mike's point was really valid. We don't have enough fees to even hit $1 million currently. So that risk is currently taken away.
I think the orcs have a little bit of risk. That I think the gateways also have a little bit of risk. But the fact that the dollar amounts are so low right now that it's going to be a non-issue. I think it's really as it starts to expand and grow. But again, even if you as an individual operator wanted to run your own gateway and serve it, you're fine. You can do that. I don't think there's going to be any problems with it. It's just, as Rick pointed out, Livepeer to protocol, the SPE and Inc. aren't going to be documenting it saying, hey, go download this model and put it into the scripts and do all kinds of stuff to cater and enable people to do it. But, with a little bit of elbow grease, you can deploy it yourself and get it running, and you can use it. I mean, even the network at large can use it. But again, when the numbers start getting a little bigger, then it might raise some eyebrows. But I think you're probably good for a while here to take advantage.
Yeah, 100%. So the most beautiful thing would to have it really visible on the network because it's a good model. And it's also a model that the startups has requested as well. So, but we can do this intermediate solution. But we cannot endorse it, like you said, from my group or the ecosystem team or the whole protocol.
Very good.
All right. Good for you, Titan. Clear it up.
I mean, yeah, it actually, it's a great topic. So diving in, giving your opinions. Any other questions or comments around the stable diffusion licensing model, or any future prospects on kind of how this all work out in the end, or comments on it? Cool. Yeah, I think we'll just have to see kind of how it happens, but in the meantime, it's a fair interpretation of what it means. Cool. Okay. Well, that comes to the end of all of our topics. Does anyone else want to cover something that hasn't been covered so far?
Yes, sorry, Tatan, I want to say something, but it's about lead. So can I go ahead or it's not a good time?
It's about the LID?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, I just have one question, right? With the recent developments, I've been voted out of the member. I'm no longer a member in the lead, and that's okay. I just want to know because in the past few months, the work I did and everything still counted, and it's still part of the reason why we're where we are right now with the grants. Everybody contributed their own part. So I just want to know, does it not make sense to at least get paid for the work I've done in the past, even with the recent development? That's all I want to know.
You're referring to the work in the Livepeer Innovators DAO, like the contribution to it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the thing about the LID is that there's no contractual agreement for being paid for work, right? So it's all retroactive. So that would be the voters of the LID program that would vote on the retroactive funding of the contribution and such. Now your situation is very unique. I mean, we haven't gone through with the round yet, so we haven't decided what type of retroactive funding will happen. So yeah, as for the actual vote that passed, in there it said that anyone who's basically not a member, the retroactive funding would be removed. But at the same time, like, is it reasonable not to get paid for contribution? I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting discussion point. Probably best to bring that up in a conversation in the governance channel or something, and maybe tag the LID team and kind of source some feedback. But yeah, otherwise, the retroactive funding hasn't gone through yet. So yeah, there has been no one in the group has been paid yet. So
yeah, I know.
Does that answer your question? Like, I would reach out to the group and source feedback. I can't speak on behalf of the DAO, but I mean, do I think you should get some sort of compensation for your time? Sure, I don't see any reason for not doing that, right? If you put in a certain amount of hours and the group thinks it's appropriate, but again, I'm only one member of the DAO.
Yeah, and we're just trying to open up the conversation. I mean, everything I did is right there in the spreadsheet for the time expense tracker. So it will really help to at least know where this will lead. Thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah, we'll open up the discussion and go from there. All right. Any other comments or questions that people would like to bring up? All right. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us and making Livepeer the open and decentralized video infrastructure of the world. We will see you all next week. Cheers.
Thanks, Titan. See ya.
Thanks.